This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful weather and having an opportunity to, besides work with clients, to enjoy the outdoors. I know I've been hiking a lot, social distancing, and the new orders, making sure that when we're outside, and Brad and I do not go outside that much outside of our hikes, that we are definitely maintaining that distance that we need to maintain and keeping our masks nearby. I'm finding that it's really nice to be able to sit on the back deck this time of year. It just, I just love it. Hopefully you guys are all having that opportunity too. Wanted to say we have been super busy and it's wonderful. So today, anyway, for the office meeting, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening nationally and then also what's been happening in our local market. And I find this fascinating, really, really interesting stuff. So here is what's been going on nationally. So the thought here was all the experts were saying that in June we're going to add about 3 million jobs, and in actuality we added just shy of 5 million jobs, which is wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and we're seeing some of that. Move on to the next slide. Here we go. So the economy gained the 4.8 million jobs, and this is where they came in. So we had 2.1 in leisure and hospitality, and we're all seeing that as restaurants open again, as we see people starting to travel and staying in hotels. We see people who are working in hotels actually getting back to work. In retail, as retail shops have opened, 740,000 jobs were brought back in. Education and health service, this is really encouraging, as I don't know for sure what's going to happen with schools. I've talked with a number of our brokers who have children, and they're not sure either, but the education and health services have hired back 568,000 people. Other services, 357, manufacturing, professional services, construction, all that sort of stuff. So you can see where people are going back to work. Wonderful, wonderful information. So this was only covering up until mid-May, which is interesting because mid-May obviously does not include the June statistics. And I believe in mid-May, you guys could correct me, I think we are still in phase 1 of opening, and of course we moved into phase 2 in June. So this data is even better now for us, I'm assuming. So here is the Bureau of Labor Statistics as reported. So you can see, as we all know, in January and February, we had like less than 4% unemployment. March, when COVID first hit, a spike, and then of course a huge spike in April. But you can see that in April, and then in May, and then in June, the trend is that we are getting better on our unemployment rate. Great news all around. Outstanding stuff that we're going in the right direction. So when you look at the breakdown of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics from July 2nd, and that's, again, this chart is covering the unemployment report through June 13th. So I would assume it's better since this point in time, but you can see that of the 11.1% who were unemployed, there were still 88.9% who were employed. And that is really good. However, the chart on the right is different than what we've been seeing. The temporary, the people who believe that their unemployment is temporary, 59.5% versus permanent, 40.5%. Remember, initially that chart of the permanent unemployment was much, much, much smaller. So this is concerned that some of these jobs that have been lost are permanent loss. So again, the chart on the right is taking that 11.1% on the left and breaking it down to people who have temporary unemployment versus permanent unemployment. And that chart has gone up. So that's a little bit disconcerting. And so what does that actually mean? So this is from the Wall Street Journal. The US job growth surged last month, underscoring the economy's capacity for a quick rebound if businesses continue to reopen and consumers regain confidence. A recent coronavirus spike, however, could undermine trends captured in the latest jobs report. We're very much concerned about that, and we're hearing of some states like California taking a step backward. I talked with my sister who lives in California, and she is really discouraged when things like hair salons have shut down again, gyms have shut down again, all those sort of things are happening back in California. So the thought here, as the temporary unemployment drops, though, as people are going back to work, the permanent job losses keep rising. And these are things that economists always like to look at, is certain data and statistics. They talk about the core unemployment rate, which subtracts the temporary layoffs and adds unemployed who didn't search for a job recently. That's the core unemployment rate that's rising. It jumped to 5.9% in June from 5% in May, according to Indeed economist Jed Kolko. So again, this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. So economists do like to manipulate data, and they have different ways of looking at things. So here, this next chart is going to show what is truly the core unemployment rate. So the people who are like in the permanent unemployment rate. So we can see here in April of 2010, again, this is the height of the housing recession. Look at how high it was at that point. February of 2017, December 2019. Here's April, May, and June of this year. So we are trending upward. That's not good. But even though we're trending upward, the April of 2010, we're still way below that. So the trend upward isn't good, but in relationship to how bad it's been in the past, we're still better than that. These are all things for us to think about as we work through our work with our clients, our buyers and our sellers. So here, however, is the thing that we start thinking about when people get permanently unemployed. So what is happening to people who don't have work, who have asked their mortgage to do a forbearance, basically to keep their mortgage payment on hold for a period of time, so they're not paying that they're not paying their mortgage because they can't afford it. So the thing that's unique about this time in life versus back in 2010, of the active forbearances, which are past due on their mortgage payment, 77% of the people who've done that have at least 20% equity in their home. That's a huge, huge difference to what happened in 2010 when people were upside down. They owed more than their home was worth. In this case, at least 77% of people who are not making their mortgage payments have at least 20% equity in their home. Of all of those who have not been making their payment, only 1% is in negative equity. So that means we are less likely and probably will not see a mortgage, a foreclosure, a foreclosure scenario like what we had during 2010, 2011, people selling short. I can tell you that within our own brokerage, we do have one client, one seller who has been missing payments, however, has far in excess of 20% equity in their home. And we have the property in contract and it will close, and what they owe on their loan will be paid off in full. There will be no, they will be making money out of their home sale. So that's a positive for them. So the situation in this case, when people cannot make their mortgage payments, they're more likely to sell their property than they are to go through the foreclosure process. Obviously, makes sense. So the high level of equity provides options for homeowners, policymakers, mortgage investors, and services in helping to avoid downstream foreclosure activity and default-related losses. Very much true. We're not going to see those default-related losses. People are talking about that. What impact is COVID and people being out of work having on people being able to afford their mortgage? Obviously, the forbearance is an issue, but the thing is, I do not see us getting back into the 2010 scenario. It's just not going to happen. So we still have home sellers who are concerned that their home won't sell because of the pandemic and resulting economic recession. This shocks me, 87%. Of course, this is national statistics. They're not listening to the reality. of 372,000 homes sold last month in the United States. That's a lot of houses that sold last month. We are seeing a surge of home sales in various markets in the country right now. And for sellers who think their home won't sell because of the pandemic, they really need to be talking to a real estate professional who can tell them the reality of what's happening. So here, Mark Fleming, who's the chief economist at First American, he says, as we navigate the unprecedented impact of COVID-19, home has taken on added significance, and there are signs that home ownership remains one of the main tenets of the American dream. Absolutely. In fact, I think even more so because of COVID, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. That's my own personal opinion, but I think a lot of people are seeing the same thing. Home ownership is still something that people want. So this is what's been happening with showings in North America. This is from Showing Time, which is a company that tracks showings. You can see that the earlier part of the year, during January and early February, showings were on an uptick. We know our January and February this year were phenomenal, the best we've ever had. Phenomenal January and February. And then COVID hit. And look what happened to showings. They just tanked the end of March through middle of April. Then, middle of April, things started changing. And we're now back up to a really high amount of showings in North America. Again, starting from 0 as of January, showing how things tanked and yet now went back up. The confidence of people to be able to show homes. I know for a period of time, can we even show a home? Virtual showings were a huge scenario, things we were looking at, ways of getting people to see a home. But now as people get more comfortable with it, recognizing that masks, social distancing, hand sanitizer seems to be a good way of keeping things safe. And then in addition, it looks like we have more medical treatments that are effective in helping people. It's very positive to see what's happening now with real estate. So year-over-year change in buyer viewing appointments, virtual and in-person combined. We are up 21% over the year before. That's virtually and in person. So this was as of June 22nd. You can see across the country, the Northeast, the South, the Midwest, and the West. People are looking at homes in an increased level over the year before. Why is that? That's a really good, interesting thing to consider, because 2019, people were still looking for homes, but what's changed? Is it the dip that we had, then all of a sudden everyone's back on board? I think there's a lot of things that are actually combining into these statistics. So this is something called the Housing Market Recovery Index. Like I said, economists like to take all kinds of interesting data, combine them, and come up with a new index. This index is from Realtor.com, and it combines 4 components. 1, demand, 2, supply, 3, price, and then 4, time on the market. So if we go back to early February, before COVID hit, when COVID hit, this is the recovery index. COVID, pre-COVID, COVID, everything tanked in April. Then it's been back on an uptick. We're almost back to where we were before COVID hit as far as recovery index, looking at demand, supply, price, time on the market. Very, very interesting. It's like we had a blip for a period of time, and yet we're almost back to pre-COVID data, pre-COVID stats. So if you look at this is from Zillow. Newly pending sales are up 18.8% month over month. So this is looking at June versus May. And then new listings taken up month over month, up 5.2% June versus May. However, when you compare where we were against a year ago, and this is true in our local market too, total listings are down 20.7%, and new listings taken are down 16.6%. And this is, again, this is national statistics, but this is really true in our market. Is this due to a lot of those sellers who think that the pandemic is going to keep their home from being sold? Is it people who are just afraid of coming out? What is causing the total listings to be down and the new listings taken down? Good question. Again, statistically, we're up over the month before, which makes sense as we move into summertime, which is a high traffic time for sales, for real estate sales. But I find this very interesting. So here's what's happening in our market. Again, these are national stats, year over year change in listings. So new listings is the green line and total listings is the orange line. So this is what's been happening here. In early March, everything tanking. And now new listings are on the uptick, but total listings are going down. Basically what's happening as we move into summer, more people list, as we always do year over year, but when they're hitting the market, they're selling, as we know within our market. Multiple offers. As soon as something hits the market, it's well priced, it gets into contract. Multiple offers, lots of things like that happening, not just in our market, but across the country. The amount of demand far in excess of the supply. And so there is definitely a need for more listings. Inventory as a percent of households is half of the long run average. So the long-term average of 2.4% is now 1.2%. It's an all-time low. We don't have any inventory. We've known that for a long time. Inventory is a desperate measure for us right now. We all know there is a lack of inventory for the demand, and this is true on a national level. So what's going to happen? As we all know, basic economics, supply and demand. When you have more demand than you have supply, the anticipation is that prices increase. This chart is showing where a lot of the experts say regarding home prices. So if you look at all of the major indicators here, except for one, is anticipating in 2020 that home prices will increase in a national level. In this case, 3 out of these 6 indicators think it's going to increase more than 3% on a national level. And then in 2021, all the indicators are that prices are going to continue to go up. This is the Mortgage Bankers Association, Zelman Associates, Fannie Mae, National NAR, Freddie Mac, and then this Home Price Expectation Survey. I'm not quite sure who is involved in that particular survey, but you can see these experts are all anticipating, based upon supply and demand, home prices are going to continue to go up. But they've been going up in our market since we've been coming out of the recession at higher rates than this, but still expect it to continue. So the severity of inventory tightness should remain a relative benefit to home prices, but it is also a risk factor to the degree of rebound in unit sales going forward. That's from Zelman Associates. So as prices go up, how many people can continue to afford a home? The thing that's been our saving right now has been mortgage rates. Interest rates are so low, we are not as impacted as we could be by rising home prices. People can afford more home because interest rates being as low as they are. But will the severity of inventory tightness remain? I don't know what's going to happen unless people can get more money through a job. Who knows? So here also, the housing market is likely benefiting from low mortgage rates, as I said, stronger demand for larger spaces, and that's another key thing here as we're seeing. As more and more people work from home and a desire to move away from crowded cities to avoid exposure to the coronavirus. We are seeing that here. Low mortgage rates, demand for larger spaces. This is happening within our market. People are finding, and I've posted some stuff about this, people are leaving urban centers. They're leaving high density environments and moving to the suburbs. They're also moving to rural areas. And That's again one of the driving forces why people are coming to Bend. They want to get out of the big city. They want to come to a place where it has elbow room, has a lifestyle. We've known our lifestyle has been something that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time, but now with coronavirus encouraging and I guess the thought process of people having to work from home, people are recognizing that maybe we need a little more space. So what's happening here? According to Realtor Magazine, 30% of respondents living in a high-density urban area say that the pandemic is prompting them to want to move by the end of the year. This is more than double the rate of those living in rural parts of the country, where residents are much more likely to stay put rather than to relocate. Again, people are seeing this. This is statistics. So this is what's happening here. Buyers showing a greater desire for non-urban properties, year-over-year increase in views per property. So this is people looking at the type of property. So these are some of the data, but they're looking at, people are looking at rural property, 16% increase. Suburban property, a 13% increase. Urban property, nowhere near at that high level, 7% increase. So this is what people are looking at. So here, I think is also interesting too, from Realtor.com, Danielle Hale. Much like the suburbs are gaining favor with home shoppers, second home markets are seeing increased interest from luxury buyers. We are seeing that within our own brokerage. So places like Suffolk County, New York, home to the Hamptons, Palm Springs and Riverside County, California, and Greenwich in Fairfield, Connecticut, all second home markets ranked among the top 5 markets with the largest increase in listing view growth in May. That's from Realtor.com. So they're tracking what listings, where they are in the country that people are looking. Views of luxury properties accelerated 56% in the Hamptons, 28% in Palm Springs, and 24% in Greenwich compared to January trends. This is the second home market. This is the luxury market. And Danielle Gates from our own office has been pointing this out to me, the increase, and you guys have probably seen the same thing. The increase in $1 million sales has gone up exponentially. I wrote a blog about that. I could share that with you guys, but it's in on our company website. So what's happened? Since the pandemic altered what buyers value in their homes, builders are predicting how future homes will change as a result and what people will want most moving forward. As people spend more time at home during the pandemic, buyers are realizing which features of their homes are working and not working. So home builders predict open concept floor plans will be a thing in the past as people now value more walls, doors, and overall privacy. So the idea of a great room with a desk in a corner for somebody to work is not necessarily what people are looking for. They're looking for a private office. So new construction, which offers the chance to personalize home features, saw its listing page views grow by 73% over last May. So we are seeing that people are looking for homes that have private spaces. They're also looking for homes that have a backyard, a little elbow room, a place for the kids to play, a place for the dog to go. They are not necessarily looking for those high density small homes any longer. Very interesting stuff. So that's kind of what's going on a national level. What I want to do now is actually share what's happening in our local market. So this is what's been going on for us, for Bend Premier Real Estate. This is June 2020 versus June 2019. Just like they were talking about the national statistics that listings are down, yes, listings are down considerably. I'm going to go over Bend stats in a little bit, but for us, we're down 43% on our listings. We've had fewer listings this year than we did last year at this time. But our pending sales are up. We are up 12% on the pendings that we had this year versus last year. An increase in pending sales. The volume of our pending sales is up. In closings, we're down a little bit over last year, but the volume, this is, of course, closings in June would be bookings that we'd have had in May April, kind of as COVID adjustments were occurring. But if you look at our year to date, this is 2019. We've had almost the same number of sales, 184 versus 189. So we've had more sales so far this year than last year. But look at the volume. We were at 89 million in 2019 year to date. This is going through June 30th. But this year, 106. So we're up, what is that, 17 million in sales. The volume of what we are selling is higher priced. There's more of it. Again, the trend towards luxury buyers, towards higher end, as prices keep on going up, is definitely impacting what we're seeing within our own brokerage. This is the market summary from Flex. I like to look at these charts based upon the trends. However, this is Bend Residential. The way Flex utilizes Bend Residential, that also includes Sunriver, which I don't like. But you can see the number of listings, what's happening with that, how listing prices. This is the average active median list prices, the red, the new median list price, and the sold median list price. Absorption rates, again, lack of inventory. The sold to list ratio, again, homes are selling pretty close to asking price. There's been a little dip in June on that. Days on market, again, very, very low. Now this figure on days on market, this is going to adjust because of using Flex. One of the changes that we've made with our combined data sharing with Southern Oregon and Klamath Falls is that when a home is in pending status, the days on market stop. So when we have a home that goes into pending, and then all of a sudden comes back out, it could have been pending for 30 days and we've had a sale fail, whatever, that 30-day it was off market is not added back into it. So days on market will change and adjust downward simply because of the change in our data share. So we have to look at this figure over a full 12-month time frame before we get started accurate record of the data adjustments. Price volume, as you can see here, active listing volume way down because we don't have listings. New listing volume and sold volume. Again, showing the trends here. But this is what's happening in our local market. This is Bend single family residential on less than an acre. This is all of MLS. So active listings in 2019, we had almost 1,000 active listings. In 2020, we had 394 active listings altogether, 60% reduction in active listings, no inventory. New listings, in 2019, we got 304 new listings in June. In 2020, 249, down 18%. New pendings, in 2019, we had 236. In 2020, 476, an increase of 101%. That is telling you what's happening. We, as Bend Premier, we've had more new pendings as well, a big increase in pendings, and people are snapping up and buying what's on the market. That's why we have no listings. Solds, we are actually down a little bit on closings on sales. Again, this is the results of that decrease in sales when COVID first hit. But look at the increase in the sold volume. We're selling higher end. We were 123 million. We're now at 138 million, up 12.1%. Average sales price last year in June was 522,000. We're up to 603,000, up 15%. Median sales price 445 to 463, up 4%. The percentage of list price, again, things are selling really close to asking price. But again, this is the serious thing. Months supply. Last year, 2019, we had 5.2 months. We have 1.8 now. We're down 65.4% in our supply. That's why listings are such a premium, and that's why people are very desperate to buy right now. And I think it's a whole conglomeration of things connected with the fact that people are leaving the cities. We have inflow in Bend every summer, but I think they're coming even more than before because COVID is driving them out of these high density areas. They're driving out of what I'm hearing from people. I've got people coming from California. I've got people coming from Portland. We've got people coming from different parts of the country wanting to be in a more rural area. Not that Bend itself is rural, but it has elbow room. It has places for people to go out into the nature, go for, we all know we live in an area with an active lifestyle that's conducive towards people who love to mountain bike, to hike, to fish, to hunt, to camp, all that sort of stuff. And our housing, we're not stacked on top of each other. There are some condo projects, yes, but we can still walk outside of our door, find a trail, and go for a walk. You know, we have that activity here, and this is what we are seeing. This is Portland. So this is from RMLS, and I just wanted to share what's happening with Portland's markets too. So same sort of statistics here. If you look at new listings in Portland, they're down 14%. Year to date, they're down 15%. Pending sales, though, are up 18%. Closed sales down 1.7%. Average sales price has gone up some. Median sales price has gone up some. And total market price, market time, it's down just a smidgen. But still, this is following those national trends. I think we are at a place within Bend that's accelerated with the trends. We are seeing much higher statistics, I guess to say, much more dramatic statistics than other places. I think that, let me go back to that one. Not this one, but this one here, in which our sold volume and our sales price up 15% over the year before. Average sales price, median sales price up 4%. The month supply is significant. So I wanted to kind of open this up a little bit and find out what you guys are seeing. So if you have something, if anyone would like to share what they are seeing in the market, I would love to hear from you, because this helps all of us to know what's going on. This is what I'm seeing statistically and also from talking with you guys, but tell me what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yes, Tina, no inventory and multiple offers, absolutely. If you guys want to talk, please unmute your mic, and then after you're done talking, mute your mic again, so that way we can hear what you're saying. But I agree, no inventory, multiple offers. I know a couple of our listings that were priced very well, VIN listings under 4, we've had 10 offers, 10 offers. And I know we've been on the other end of offering on property that received 10 offers.
Yeah.
Sometimes we win, more often than not we don't, unfortunately. What else are people seeing?
I've got buyers that are coming in from out of area, and a couple of times I've heard, oh, well, maybe we'll wait for prices to go down. And it's an education to inform them that Bend prices are not going to go down.
Yeah.
And, I've got another buyer who's looking in the downtown area for like a small cottage. And you're thinking you're looking at an 800 square foot building over $500,000, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. People are. What was that, Jane?
Oh, they're still interested, and people are still coming in, and I'm working with several buyers right now, and everybody's just excited.
They are excited. I mean, Bend always. Having lived here since 1985, Bend has always had an increase of population, I guess, every summer with people who are tourists wanting to enjoy the area. But now we're seeing more and more people wanting to live here. And it's good for us. That's what we do. The challenge is finding property, getting listings. you know, if you have a buyer trying to find a property that would work for them that's not already sold. Yeah. Does anyone else have something to say?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can.
Hey,
Rob.
this is Rob. Hey, Tina and I talked about this last night, but I just got to say that just to give an example of the craziness out there, I don't know if any of you guys looked at the listing on Burnside that came on for $450 yesterday, and that was the first showings were going to be on Thursday because they had well, it doesn't matter, but the first showings are going to be on Thursday, but then a few things changed and they had to get it sold quick to keep their contingent property they were buying from slipping away. So they did showings yesterday. Yesterday they had 13 showings and 6 offers, and I wrote an offer significantly over list price and I still didn't get it. I'm in backup on this thing. I mean, I went way over list price and we still didn't get it. So just gives you an idea how insane it is out there right now.
It is. Anything under 5, depending upon what part of Bend it's at, is being snapped up. And are you in first backup, Rob?
Yes, yeah, we're going to be officially in it later today, do the paperwork. But yeah, we're first backup. But he said he had 6 offers, and he said basically all 6 were good offers, and then some just went crazy. And I thought we went crazy, but apparently not crazy enough.
You know, and I would encourage you guys, if you have clients who are interested in these properties, and you've already been told you're in, they've already have a ratified offer, be willing, if the seller is willing to entertain a backup, be willing to ask for that. Within our own brokerage, we had one listing that was very, very hot. We ended up with, I think it was probably 7 or 8 offers on the property. Our seller accepted one. We put someone in first backup, another one in second backup, and then there was a third backup. Now, the people who are in primary couldn't perform. But at that point, the people in first backup had already moved on to something else. So the people who were in second backup were ultimately the ones who got the property, closed on it. So this is something I would encourage you. There are things that happen in a transaction. There's still financing issues. There could be still inspection issues, all kinds of things that might happen. So always encourage your clients, especially if the seller would be willing to entertain a backup, to be in backup, because you may end up getting the property after all. Okay. Anybody else have a story or something that they can share? If not, I want to share with you this blog I did write about the high end. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Just going to this really quick. Because I found this fascinating. After I was talking with here we go. This is the luxury homes. This is the trends right here. So this is what is going on with Bend luxury homes. Again, the data here, this is Bend single family less than an acre. And I'm looking at prices. This first in blue, this is priced $1 million to $1.3 million. The red is $1.3 million to $1.6 million. The green is $1.6 million to $2 million, and the purple is $2 million and higher. Again, just Bend single family less than an acre. So we're not talking large acreage property, anything like that. Look at the trends. Look at what's been happening over the last 3 years. This is 2018, 2019, and 2020. We are selling, and again, these are June sales. This is 12-month accumulation. So this goes from this is 12 months worth of sales. So this goes back, this figure here in 2020 goes back to July of 2019. So this is a total of 12 months of accumulation, but still look at what's happening as far as high-end sales. Very, very fascinating. Again, you probably are seeing it. People who, if you go back before 2018, 2017, how many homes did we have on the market that were priced more than $2 million? Hardly anything that would have been acreage property. And now these are properties less than an acre. So people are buying and snapping up high-end stuff. It's happening all over the place. So I don't know if that's going to continue on, but there's a lot of people out there who are leaving these urban areas, who are looking for these properties with places to live that have elbow room and still want to be in the city. Anybody else here with something to share?
I had a similar change too. I had a client a couple of years ago that I knew from the Bay Area where I lived, just show them around to see if they liked Bend. His budget or their budget was up to $650. Then I left them alone and they called me back to say, I sold my business. Can you show me anything up to $1.6 million? So we just closed at $1.5 million. So I think a lot of those higher sales might be people who were on the fence about Bend, but lucky enough, they got some accumulated wealth and they've come back.
That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Diane. It's true. I've also been tracking what's been happening with our website and the SEO we have with it. We are ahead of an awful lot, even the major companies. For instance, we're ahead of Trulia. I think we're neck and neck with Realtor.com on some of our search terms, like Bend real estate. And as a result, we are getting a lot of people looking at Bend homes through our company website and also calling us floor. And so I've been talking with brokers who say, yeah, that was a floor call, or that was an internet lead, or that was whatever it was, and it was $1 million buyer. So if you need some help on like working those internet leads, please see me, because there's potential in there for some really high-end sales. And we have some high-end sales in contract as a result of some of those internet leads. Yeah. Anyone else have something to share? How about haves or wants? Can anyone have haves or wants that you want to contribute to talk about? I know we have some new listings coming on board. We may have something that might work for a client.
Sure, I have a want, a buyer need for this weekend. If anybody has a pocket listing that's single story, clean, good condition in Bend or Eagle Crest, but Bend West Side, it's a retired couple. They just don't want to see houses too close to them. And the budget is $650 to $850. So if you have anything, please call or write me.
Diane, you may want to, for Eagle Crest, ask Jackie to see if she might have something coming on board there.
Right.
She focuses a lot in Eagle Crest.
Right. Okay, will do.
Anyone else with a have or want?
I will say real quick, just in case anybody has something 2,800 square foot or more in Midtown or Larkspur, or even some small acreage close in, like out on Ward or Stevens or whatever, up to about 850. Anything like that, I'm desperate. Thank you.
50. You know, Jackie Ward, she has a new one coming on board. Jackie and Shireen have a new one coming on board off of Old Deschutes Market. I think it's Old Deschutes. It's around 750. That may not be quite what your client's looking for, but I know it's coming on board soon. And it's not yet active in MLS. So,
do you know, was the square foot decently large? I can contact them directly, but if you know off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head. I just
Okay.
know that, yeah, I know she has something coming on board there.
Cool. Thank you. I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, it's in coming soon in MLS, Rob.
Oh,
So-
okay. I've seen that one. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else with anything? Okay. No more haves or wants or anything like that.
I still have that pocket listing on Hedgewood. They're sort of on the fence of what they want to do, but I know they want to sell ultimately. It's right about $540 right now is what they want to sell for, which I think is a little bit high. But what do you guys think about pricing right now in listing? I don't encourage my clients to overprice things, but you know, with the inventory so low, they want to, you know, I don't like to see the greed part of this, but what are we doing about pricing right now? They wanted to get into a FSBO that 6 months ago was priced high at 710, and now that house wants to be at 750. And so they're not going to pursue that at all. What are you guys saying about prices going up? And how do we advise, or how do we list with kind of, you know, overreaching?
I think it's really difficult. The comps aren't keeping up with what's happening in the market. So you come to the comps, but then you feel like you're underpriced. So I don't have an answer on that.
You know, Colleen, you're so right, because you priced that one house that you had in Tillicum Village exactly, you know, right. You were concerned you might have been a little high for the comps, and you're one who ended up with 10 offers. So it is, you know, to tell you the truth, Danielle, I wouldn't be afraid at 540, just simply because lack of inventory. That will tell you whether or not you are out of whack if you have no showings, no calls, no anything. But I think there's enough people looking and desperate that they will look seriously at that. If your clients are all interested, and we're also getting away with scenarios in which seller's sale is contingent upon them finding a replacement property, and being very specific about that in a counter offer.
Okay.
And buyers are willing to stick with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Is your Hedgewood a single level?
No, it's two level,
Okay.
all bedrooms and a bonus room upstairs, and it's gorgeous. Really nice one.
Nice.
You need single level.
Does anyone know much about the over 50 community in Redmond?
Are you talking about the one that's kind of an Eagle Crest?
No, not there. There's another neighborhood that's just beginning. I've got somebody looking in an over 50 community, and there's only a couple here in Bend. So looking in Redmond, but just beginning the search.
Yeah, most of the over 50 communities I know of, the local one that's kind of like a nice retirement home. It's not retirement community. It's not a like a retirement homes per se. It's actually a place where people have houses and stuff. I only know of those couple of ones in Redmond. Other than that, you're going to have just trailer, you know, like mobile homes.
Right.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to contribute at all here? Any other haves ones? Yeah, Rob?
Real quick, I'll just add with Danielle's question, you know, that Burnside, I think, is a good example of kind of, you know, how hard it is to comp something right now, because the agent on that, he had it listed at 450, and, you know, it's a nice home, 1961 year built, definitely needs some, you know, some TLC, you can tell, and it's got a single car garage, 12 by 12 shed with kind of a lean-to thing built off the back. So, you know, not a perfect house, so to speak, but definitely like 0.2 or almost a quarter acre flat lot, Burnside, you know, just off Bear Creek or 10th or whatever it is at that point. And so, you know, he was at 450, and like I said, 13 showings, 6 offers. And I don't know exactly what the first offer is, but from everything he told me and kind of, you know, trying to give my best guess, I'm thinking he's close to 500 on that, like 50 over, you know. So that just gives you an example. He was blown away. He said, man, I thought I comped that thing, you know, maybe even a little aggressive. And we went significantly over. And then the people above us, I even asked them, I said, hey, was that like just 5 or 10 over? Did we miss it if we would have gone up another 5 or 10K? He said, no, it was substantially over that. So doing the math, I'm thinking he's probably in escrow at close to 500. It's crazy.
Wow.
That is crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah.
You think it'll appraise? You know, that's,
I don't know, you know, but I guess with the appraiser, he can show them that, hey, we had 6 offers on it, and I had one on Larkview this was like a month or 2 ago, and the appraiser said the same thing. He said, oh man, this is kind of hard to appraise because you have the comps. And I said, well, we had 3 offers on it and so forth. And then we took that info and then he appraised it, at purchase price. So, you never know, of course. And this one is a financed offer. It sounds like it wasn't all cash, but they had a very good substantial down payment on it, over 50%. And so who knows, but yeah, so 50 grand ish over on a 450 on a single car garage, 1961 house. Who knows? It's just kind of crazy.
it is crazy. I agree 100%. I don't know. I mean, we had craziness like this just before the housing crash. I remember 2005, 2006, when people would enter into contract to sell their property before they had even closed on it. We're talking about flipping. Now, we're not doing that locally. These are just people desperate to buy a home that they're going to be able to live in.
I've been worried about that because, it feels similar to that time right before the crash, which makes me a little bit uneasy, where people are scrambling to buy high-priced properties. But we've got such a great economy now. We're not the whole community is involved in housing. We've got a lot of businesses here, and a lot of business and money is coming here. So that makes me feel a lot better. And of course, our banking practices are better.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
You're totally right. You're spot on there, Danielle. This was like the pyramid scheme. People were into real estate to make money quick. And the lending practices, no doc loans, people were just flipping, and you just walk in and sign a document, you've got your money. This is totally different. People when they're financing, they have to actually prove they can afford their payments. We're not seeing that kind of thing, but it does feel like it. I agree, it's crazy right now. Absolutely.
To Rob's discussion, I think we should do a follow-up after we close on how much over we went in a multiple offer situation to get a place, because I'm in escrow now. It was 2 days on the market, and yesterday we had the appraiser out, and I gave him my stats and my market analysis, and I noted in my cover sheet that there were multiple offers, and that's why we went over, but I'm not sure if that will make a difference. So I'm curious to see if it does, and I hope we appraise, and that's in Northwest Bend. So I would love a follow-up after a few people close that had a backup offer or multiple offer situation to see if the appraisers are taking that enough into consideration so we don't have to go back and renegotiate down.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Diane. That's one reason why we always encourage that listing agents meet the appraiser out there, just so that you have an opportunity to talk with them, to talk about the features of the home, to make sure you can pass on to them, yes, we had 5 offers on this property, and the demand was definitely there, and so that they can justify their price. So I think that's extremely important. Good point there, absolutely. Anyone else with anything? I know that floor is hit and miss, but we are getting some good floor walk-ins sometimes, and floor calls, like I said, can be really good. So guys, if you have questions on anything, how about anything connected with technology and Flex? Is there any issues? Are you guys getting more comfortable with that? I actually have a meeting next week. I'm on a committee with the combined database, and I have a committee meeting on certain complaints connected with Flex. So if you have something that you want to let me know about, I'd be happy to pass it on. I know the one thing that Southern Oregon absolutely loathes, that they want yanked, is no commission on sellers' concessions. So I'll have to see if that, I know that's been something that we've had in our market for quite a few years, but it was new to Southern Oregon, and they absolutely loathe it. So I don't know if that's going to go away or not, which would be an interesting thing, because we go back to how we were before, getting paid on the sales price, full sales price. Yeah, Jane, did you have something there?
Yeah, excuse me. I've got a couple of things, but just real quick. When you go back into Flex and say you're doing two different searches, I know you can open up a separate window.
Yeah.
But is there anywhere where you could just go to last search? Instead of having to go back and re-input all of the data again.
Last search.
Yeah, like if you know what I mean, like a list of previous searches, maybe up to 10 different searches. We used to have that.
Yeah.
With CRMLS, and it would be super useful.
That's a good idea. I know that the program's supposed to save by default what you had last searched. When you pull it back up again, whatever was last in there is supposed to pull up by default. But if it's not doing that in practice, I'm not sure.
No. I don't know if anybody else has any clue.
Anyone else have? Yeah. Colleen?
That I wonder if you could take to them. One, when you do a quick search at the very beginning and you're just putting in a street name, say Breckenridge, and it pulls up all the ones that are closed or active, it doesn't show the price. And it would be more user-friendly if they showed the list or closed price when you do that quick search right from the get-go. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
yeah, I do.
That would be one suggestion. And then doing the one-line CMA, I don't like it at all. It's so much print. They don't make it very easy to look at. So I was wondering if there was any way they could streamline that and make it more, I don't know, user-friendly in reading through the comps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good comments.
Hey, Linnea, one thing, I don't know if it can be done at all, but you know, when you have your searches set up for clients and you get notifications on your phone for new listings that match or whatever, and then when you click on them on your phone, you have to like sign in to Flex to see it on your phone. You can't just click on it and pull it up like it used to be on the old system. And I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that, but if there's a way when you get those notifications on your emails, especially on your phone, where you don't actually have to sign into MLS to see all the details, if it would just go directly there, that would save a lot of time, because I get those all the time, and every time I click on them, then I gotta, you know, pull up my little phone keyboard and try to sign into MLS to actually see the details.
Oh, that's a good point. You would think if nothing else, you could at least see with a client detail without having to log into anything.
Exactly. So FYI, if anything can be done there, that'd be sweet.
Good thought.
I have two quick ones. I cannot find coming soon on Flex MLS. So if you could tell me how to find that. And the other thing I've already forgotten. So I'll stick to the first one.
Coming soon. It's when you log in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when you log in.
I'm on the home page.
Yeah.
I don't see it anywhere.
All you have to do is do a search.
Yeah, you just do a search of something. So.
Well, that's stupid. They should have a tab for coming soon.
Maybe
it's on the status, Linnea. It's on status. If you go look at status and then you scroll down, there's a coming soon.
Oh, cool. Right, thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
right here.
That. And then the second question was, a new listing came on the market on Simon Road that I could have sworn was on the market 3 years ago forever. So I wanted to look up the history of the listing, and I can't find how to do that.
So I'm just popping up here onto the data thing at the top here, Simon, and it shows me, this is what Colleen was talking about. It'd be nice to see a price here, but it doesn't. But it shows it defaults to the most active on Simon, pending.
No, I got
all the closed.
But in the old days, you could get one page nice and clean that showed the entire history, when it was listed, if it went pending and came off. That page is no more. Do you know what I mean? And you could print one page. You can't print this.
It's the history. So I just did that.
don't think the data came over for the new Flex for having all that history, but oh, that one looks like it does right there.
What? So clicked on the history. Yeah, I am. The history button right there. And it shows you on this particular property when it expired. This was the listing that was canceled, all that, the history.
Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you, girls.
Good. Glad we can help with something like that.
Also on that front page, when you first click on quick search and you're given that number of listings, I've been watching that, and like, I swear a week and a half ago, the number was 2498, and that's an interesting number to watch.
It's
And now
22.
it's down to 2286. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every day
Yeah.
it goes down by 10 or 15.
Yeah. It's all of our everything getting into contract.
Yes.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys? This was really good, really helpful, and I love being able to hear what you guys are seeing. It's really wonderful stuff.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah.
I was showing houses. This is Danielle. I was showing houses yesterday, and I totally put my foot in it. My client and I visited a brand new construction. They were just getting pictures done. We took off our shoes. We hand sanitized in the car. But I was kind of involved with a conversation with my client, and I asked about masks, and I think she said yes, but I don't really recall. But we neglected to wear our masks in. There was nobody there, and it was really important for me to show Tanya the house and let her take it in. It was a beautiful house. And this morning, I got a quite scathing email saying that we didn't take protocol seriously. So I need to brush up on my protocol. I was totally guilty of that. I felt we were okay, but apparently the listing broker did not. Anyone have any comments?
Any comments on that, guys?
I would just say, I know what you're saying. I mean, I've had, I just kind of ask the clients or when I'm showing a place, some people are, hey, they don't care, they, whatever you want to do type of thing, they're not concerned. Other people are very concerned. So I know what you're saying, Danielle. It's a touchy subject for people. And I just try to do whatever everybody, wants, whether your clients feel more comfortable with or without masks. I personally am cool either way. But, I know exactly what you're saying. So I always just look at I think people that are very concerned about it usually make sure they put something in the showing instructions like, please wear masks, follow COVID, blah, blah, blah. And then others sometimes, usually when I'm setting up a showing, I just ask them, even if it's vacant, to just say, hey, do you guys want us to wear masks, or what are you feeling about that? And so, but there's no fail safe there, but I know what you're saying, and I'm sorry you stepped in on that one.
Yeah, it's my fault we changed our a whole list of properties to view on the fly. So I did not read the showing instructions probably good enough. I don't know. But yeah, maybe slow down and take a little bit more awareness. Certainly. Thank you,
How
Rob.
did they know you didn't have a mask on?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You have masks.
I had my mask in hand, but it was vacant and the windows were open. And so we were just talking about the property, and, the moment took over, and we just didn't put on the mask. So I was negligent for sure.
It's easy to do. I hear you. It's a new protocol. I just try to be in a habit of always just stuffing the mask in my pocket, so I've got it. But, old habits die hard.
Yeah.
Danielle, how did they know if the house, were you on like County Camera or something?
The listing, so there were two houses next door to each other on Pelican Butte, and the listing broker was outside managing the photos, and so she greeted us, and she was very friendly and welcomed us in, and apparently she was watching us very closely. So that's all. She wasn't inside the house with us, but apparently she was watching us through the windows.
Did she have a mask on?
I don't recall. No, I don't think she did. Outside.
Great, Colleen.
Yeah, that's,
Is
yeah.
wear a mask wherever you go. So I suppose we should have been wearing masks.
You know, and something along those lines too, Danielle, is we should always make assumptions that there may be surveillance on us when you're showing property, because you do not, in the state of Oregon, you do not have to disclose that you have cameras on people. So we always need to make that assumption that someone's watching us. With Flex, we do have a couple of spots on our input sheets now that we're supposed to identify whether or not there are cameras on us when we're taking a listing. Is there video surveillance in place? Yes or no? But those spots are often left blank, and that we don't have to, per state law, disclose the fact that we have cameras on somebody. So you can always make some assumption that someone might be videotaping you somewhere or not. But I think in your case, Danielle, that was really interesting that that agent would be so concerned about you being in a vacant home without a mask. That is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, we also, I sat on the furniture and, it was staged. So, we sat down and we kind of felt the room and had a little conversation there. And she was really upset about that too. So, but that's okay. I should have been more conscientious for sure.
Yeah, very good.
I gotta say real quick on a funny note regarding masks. I was showing a house last week, and we were lingering in there because we ended up making an offer. We're in escrow now, and it's an occupied home, and the sellers were gone, and so we were sitting inside. We all had masks on, and we were sitting inside, three of us on the couch discussing the offer and so forth. And the seller came home, and he walked in, and he didn't know we were there. I guess we were parked down the street. And he walked in, he saw us all there on the couch talking with our masks on. And then I joked with him. I said, this is probably the only time in your life you'd walk into your house and see 3 masked people and not freak out.
That's
so
good.
we got to keep our humor these days, right?
Oh, we do, definitely.
Very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you for this. This was really good. And if you have questions on anything, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and look a little bit more detailed into that. If there's anything new posted on COVID protocol for showings, Danielle, I'll send everybody the link on that from OAR.
Thank you. I need a refresher.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, and if not, everybody, have a great day and let us know if we can help with anything. Thanks so much.